Story for you here tonight. Ballots are making their way back to county election offices for processing in time for the November 5th general election.
Our Jordan Tracy got a behind-the-scenes look at the process in Utah County and has more on the journey of your ballot. Jordan?
Well, Brian and Sarah, whether you drop box or through the mail, ballots are being processed at county offices across the Beehive State. And just like any other citizen curious about the process, I was able to watch as election workers sorted ballots to make sure all is ready for Election Day. Here's what we learned.
If you're a Utah County voter, your ballot ends up here. Temporary workers unfolding and sorting ballots ready to be counted, but that's halfway in. Once ballots are collected by election staff, they get put through the Agilis machine, which records that the ballots are received and sorts ballots that have an issue and those ready to go. Then it's off to signature verification to make sure who signed the ballot matches their past signatures. Next, a double check.
It goes through a 1% audit, so they send that to me or two of my supervisors, and we go through 1% and audit the whole signature verification process.
Once signatures are verified, ballots can be opened. The machine does the opening to make sure your vote stays private.
We separate the ballot from the envelope. It drops down in this little channel, so we can't even see the name on the ballot. So when we pull that ballot out, the ballot envelope gets shot into another tub.
And now the unfolding to make sure that they can run smoothly through the tabulator to be counted. For votes for write-in candidates, they get looked at one by one and counted for the intended candidate. We're told it's a tedious but not necessarily lengthy process as it's still done digitally. Unique to this year, multiple Lymans running for governor. So if you're writing in, you have to be specific.
It has to be identifiable to the ticket. They could just write Clausen because Clausen is identifiable to the ticket. If they write just Lyman, the intent is not known, so it would be just kind of designated as an invalid candidate.
And Davidson tells us they welcome anyone with questions about the process to come see for themselves.
They can watch whatever they want to watch. Signature verification, we do the signature verification on the other side, and we have monitors facing both ways, so anybody can sit right down in front of a monitor and watch the signature verification. So anything that anybody wants to see, they're more than welcome to come.
And just the layers of verification and all the different process they have to go through all couldn't fit in that piece. For example, when they go to pick up at drop boxes, there's a camera there, and those election workers can't actually turn their back towards the camera at all. They have to be looking directly at the camera, and there's like the zip ties to make sure they're sealed. They each have their own barcode to make sure the right person with the right barcode, with the right zip tie, all made it through that process and everything was correct. Also, they do a 1% audit, as he talked about. The LG's office actually requires the county to do that 1% audit. They do a 2% audit. So if anybody has questions or want to see another audit, they can go down and say, hey, let's pick 4 boxes, you audit those. And they're more than willing to do that. He was telling me how transparent they want that process in Utah County to be. Because there's obviously a lot of questions sometimes around elections these days.
Wow, we've come a long way since the punch tabs and the hanging chads. Remember those? Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, I do. I certainly do. All right,
Needless to say, though, a very specific process.
A very specific process. That sorter, when they go through the ballots to make sure if it's weighted wrong, that machine can actually tell if there's 2 ballots stuffed into one envelope, which is not allowed. Then they have to call those voters and say, hey, come down and verify your ballot to make sure it counts. So there's so many layers of protection, and then you can actually go see for yourself, which I think is important. And one last thing, if I can, they talk about, if there's someone who died and they're worried about dead voters. That's been something that's been on the internet before. They actually can catch those. They go through a process of mortuaries, going through obituaries, talking to the state to make sure they purge those records regularly to make sure that doesn't happen.
They talk to mortuaries to get names of people who've died.
Absolutely.
Wow, okay.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, a very detailed process now. Jordan, thank you very much.
You're welcome.